Podcast or research and make headlines. Na ya jemre na yedibi eksomo ewa ha. Ene di mni ahun braksimu se ene eyideri kanyam. Shrekse ubitimi subscribe to the channel. Hit notification bell so mami. Share na afofro akanso ensa intumi enkebe ni di ma. Onia yanko eye political highways ni ejedem a enya asem koto akwana. Ningina ne se Dr. Nyaho-Tamakloe weye NPP amaye kono mpanyimfo ni bia uyini frima enye ye kra na Hon.Kodua eri statement bi ababon chenso a ordinary say our expel eye Professor Frimpong Boating every party nim efa nsem bia okekan ye ehun a omu ehun se egu party no ehun fi e okwan bi so papa no ebie na no etimi aka ne paint se mu de mu susakra na ye ne ye ba party ni mu no mu na mo hefa a ene mo se mo occupy positions e party ni mu age party na boso a de mo pe na mbosa mo ye otinte sukoko e egu eye party secretary ni so se mu yi eye Professor Frimpong Boating every party ni mu dia ene na mo nso mo nhye so say ene na me nso me free party ni a onua enye asem koto akra na at this point in time we gbawuram abra wajemre na owo ye nchirimu age politics avenue onua yen konsimini.
Dr. Nyaho-Tamakloe has joined us on phone. Doc, Happy New Year to you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on TV3.
Many happy returns.
You are an elder of the party. A colleague elder or a fellow elder is on the brink of being expelled from the party. I'm sure you've heard what must have led to this. What will your initial thoughts be on this development?
I listened carefully to my colleague, Professor Frimpong yesterday in that interview, and I'll say, without fear, that I agree with him entirely. All the points that he raised are issues that are really worrying the party. Now, what I'll say at this stage is that if they start Frimpong, then they should sack me. They should sack Kwame Training. They should sack Dr. Kennedy. And quite a normal office. Now, this party was formed by Democrats. Listen to me carefully. By Democrats. Those I mentioned, including myself, we are not even the founding fathers. We are founding members. But people like B.J. Darocha, people like Professor Addo, people like Peter Ala Ajete, people like Sami Odoi-Sais, people like Stephen Kreku, people like Bikai of Kumasi, people like B.K. Adama, people like Sarifu Ibrahim, people like Tolona Yakubu Tali. All those I have mentioned, the only person surviving now is Odoi-Sais. These people will turn in their graves. And whoever in NPP now thinks he can sack Frimpong, they should try it. They should try it. The party is now in hands of looters. They have not performed well. They came to power through thievery. We all know it.
Right.
We all know it. And if they are going to continue to disturb the party, then they should know that some of us are ready for them.
Dr. Nyaho-Tamakloe, the concern the party is raising is that if he is a member, he probably should not be calling the same party fake. And that even if he disagrees, there probably are channels he could use to express his disagreement or his grievance. And for that reason, they think they would want him out. You say you totally agree with what Professor Frimpong said. How then do you take the bit about he describing the party as fake?
No, Frimpong Boateng is not a kid. Frimpong Boateng academically is very solid. Frimpong Boateng is a man of integrity. He's a hard-working person. Frimpong Boateng knows how to choose his words. And if he says the party is fake, he knows why he says so. And if I were them, they would have come a quiet discussion with him before coming out the way they came. This shows clearly that the party is on its way to destruction. And some of us, including my very self, we shall make sure that these destroyers are rather removed from the party, so that the party that was formed by men of integrity will survive.
Doc, my last two questions before you take leave of us. We'll look at the bit of your submission where you said if they dare or if they want to, they should sack him and we'll see what will happen. Would you also, resign from the party or get the elders to leave the party? What is it that you think could happen if they attempt? Now they are looking forward to doing that. If they do sack him, what would happen?
I will never resign from New Patriotic Party because we were there before those of them in office now came. We respected leadership and hierarchy. We did. We understudied these giants who have passed. And when you talk about sacking somebody, then you must know exactly what you are talking about. The party, as I said earlier, was a party founded on the principle of freedom and justice, on the principle of democratic dispensation, on the principle of free discussion.
Okay.
If Frimpong Boateng has said that the party is fake, he has not insulted anybody. He's saying exactly what or how he finds the party. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right. And my final question, Doc, will be, so how do we resolve this? The parties are looking at a January 31 primary. A lot of political activities happening within the rank and file of the party. This seems to be a distraction. How do you think the party can resolve it going forward?
Now, to begin with, initially, some of us told them that the plan they have adopted will be a failure. I said it personally, because they should have started the other way around. You don't pick the leader of the party when you have lost so heavily in the national election. What you do is that you come to the grassroots and mobilize the people. Explain to them what brought this total failure. And after having mobilized the people at the grassroots, you think about leadership right down from the grassroots up to who leads the party. They are doing the other way. I said it will be a failure, and mark my words, this is the way to destruction of this great party. But some of us will not allow it to happen.
All right, Dr. Nyaho-Tamakloe, thank you so much for your time and thoughts on this subject. He is a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, and it's a subject matter being discussed far and wide. Let's now pick the political perspective on this. And Professor Sarpong, Director of Research and Innovation at the Kumasi Technical University, has joined us. Prof, good afternoon to you. I haven't seen you this year, so Happy New Year to you. And my first question naturally will be, are you surprised at the turn of events? It looks as though the party is stifling free speech.
A very good afternoon to your good self, and many happy returns as we begin this new year, along with our cherished viewers. So, interesting twist to things. I think Frimpong Boateng Prof has been quiet for quite some time, and I was thinking that as his stature, he will be behind assisting in correcting some of the wrongs. It came as a surprise to me to hear that interview and to understand that perhaps he is quiet on a different level, still not too happy with his party and all those things. So quite a shock. Then the response from the party through the General Secretary, I'm sure it's an indication of intent. Maybe it's still not too late for them to meet midway and then see how to, if there will be further clarity on the interview to party leaders or council, and then maybe subsequently the party also amending its stance on the letter we have all read and all those things. I think it's still not too late because the responsibility is mutual. Much as things might be going wrong from the perspective of the founding members, they too owe it a responsibility to make sure that at their level, they would make sure they leave behind a party united, a party that is progressive and all those things. They don't have to leave things to destroy further, or perhaps through their comments and dissatisfaction, get things to destroy further. They must admit that, yes, they are giving way to the younger ones, and the younger ones may need some guidance as the transition occurs. So the responsibility for me is mutual. Much as they see things wrong with the younger generation, they must as well take the responsibility and not to make it feel like things are totally out of hands. They can use all words to describe a party they sat to form. So I'm in the middle somewhere, seeking mutual responsibility from both the elders and then the younger generation, because, I mean, things cannot be allowed to go the way it has started.
This wouldn't be the first time a prof or a leading member of the party expressed a disagreement of how things were done in the past. And even now that their party is in opposition, daily activities come up for public criticism. So for a senior voice like that of Professor Frimpong to come up and with this kind of immediate response, people are saying the party over time is beginning to shun the ideals of allowing democracy, freedom of speech and expression. Could that be a truism? Could there be some truth in that?
You know, internal democracy at the party level, it is not just democracy, it is an internal democracy. And some of these disagreements are expressed vigorously and vociferously during party meetings. I am sure at their council, especially the one that decided to do bottom-up, up-down approach, I'm sure there will be several vicious and vigorous disagreements, but it is internal. You are allowed to express yourself, use all terms whatsoever in the presence of the chairman and party elders, and then at the end of the day, democracy will prevail. They will perhaps cast it to a vote, and whoever stands wins, we go. When a democratic person leaves the courtroom or the place where democracy is required and stands outside the space of democracy and spews it out to the outer world, to all other competitors, you know, this thing is not only about NPP, it's about NPP versus NDC versus CPP, those things. So once you move outside the space where democracy is supposed to be entrenched, then it is beyond democracy. Then you are actually selling out, giving arsenals, weakening your party in the face of other competitors. And that is why I am calling on those who are elders perhaps to perhaps find another way, because it is incumbent on them not to leave behind as they grow older and older. The Dr. Nyaho-Tamakloe we knew some 10, 20 years ago during Akuffo's positive change, 2000 and all those things. It's not the same. Dr. Nyaho, age is actually blessing him and he's becoming older and older and weaker and weaker. Same with Professor Frimpong, same with Dr. Mpianim, same with Dr. Ǎttǎcǩ and all those lists that he mentions. I am saying that their perspective may be different from the current perspective, and actually their generation will have to give way to the new generation. At a point, President Jerry John Rawlings had to give way. Some of the others had to be toned down and allow new guys to take over.
That's a good point. Sorry for butting in, but that's a good point you make about, you know, the elderly and the young generation, and they finding a middle ground where there'll be knowledge transfer, there'll be, you know, the camaraderie that we see in political parties. But there seemed to be a challenge with reaching out, especially to either the current crop of leaders or the current groupings of persons that make up the party. There seemed to be a clear disconnect. Even former President Akuffo has had cause to say that there seemed not to be the respect for the elderly in the party. I said, you know, in the local language, they say, penny nifia na. You know, so this is not only Professor Frimpong Boateng's concern, even former President Akuffo has raised it. So how then do we blend, or how do we find a middle ground for this kind of merger or, you know, unity you're talking about?
Yeah, so let me drive to the younger ones. Usually in our settings, you would have to move to elderly people. So if that is lacking, then it is a very big minus on their part. And again, I feel it is not too late. It is 1 year into opposition. They can better up in 2026, bridge the gap between the elderly and themselves, because sincerely speaking, the future cannot stand without proper reference to the past. And they need these people, now that they are alive, to consult.
Okay.
But I want to still draw attention of the elderly to
formal processes to expel former Environment Minister Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng following comments the party says are damning and inconsistent with its values. This was announced in a statement signed by the party's General Secretary Hon.Kodua Frimpong on Tuesday, the 13th of January 2026. That's actually today. According to the party, Professor Frimpong Boateng, during an interview on Channel 1 TV on Monday, January 12, made remarks in which he described the NPP as a fake party and suggested that he no longer considers himself a member. The statement added that during the interview, the former minister also alleged that the NPP's 2023 presidential primary was rigged in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the party's flag bearer for the 2024 general elections. The NPP said Professor Frimpong Boateng's comments are highly reprehensible and undermine the unity and integrity of the party, and as a result, it has invoked the relevant provisions of its constitution to begin the process of expelling him in line with due process. And this has been greeted with quite some reaction already on social media. People are saying that the party in itself, through this action, is stifling the freedom of expression and freedom of disagreement or freedom of speech. In a moment, we'll try and get some perspectives on this particular issue, which is developing really fast. And also, it's part of the build-up to the party's January 31 primary to elect a flag bearer. So it looks as though this is a build-up to how the party is looking to shape itself up far ahead of the 2028 elections. But let's now speak to senior lecturer and policy analyst with the University of Ghana, Dr. Joshua Zato, who has joined us on phone for a quick chat. Doc, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on News Central.
Good afternoon, and thank you to all your listeners all over the country.
Well, I'm sure you have followed this conversation about the party's decision, but let me start from here. Have you heard Professor Frimpong Boateng yourself, the interview that the party is basing this decision on, and what are your thoughts on what he said?
Well, thank you. Yes, I've heard a snippet of the interview, and I can say that Professor Boateng has a right to freedom of speech. He has a right to say whatever he wants about the political party that he wants to belong to, and nobody can take that right away from him. He did make some comments about his political party. He did contribute to the public discourse about how the political party he once belonged to, or he belongs to, he's still a member of the NPP, and what is happening and what happening there. Yeah, he has that right. He has that freedom of speech to speak and to make those comments. But I think in the same way that he did that, the New Patriotic Party also has the right to react to those comments and to react to those statements. And I think we have seen the NPP's reaction. I don't think we have seen the end of this story yet. It's just beginning.
And so I mean, I'm picking up from where you left off. Do those comments, in your view, warrant what the decision of the party looks like, which is the decision to expel him out of the party?
Well, if you just look at what he said, then it means I don't think the man himself wants to stay in that party. So I think that they will all be doing themselves good if they just part ways. What actually intrigues me is that
we and some who wait course or channel so mamma not so jimre el had a senator or body no edia dumbi edomania unia ebasamba rem na yasun yipa ha age politics avid